me my theme music!
What's up, Buffs Nation, and welcome into Buffs News Weekly Live. I'm your host, Russ Dornish, and we've got a lot to discuss as the first day of team meetings occurred yesterday, and a lot of new information came to light from those meetings. So what is up, everybody in the chat? We see Big Teasy in the house, as always, and Kesa Tavaga. Go Buffs. Hope I pronounced that right. Any update on Coach Hilo promotion? I don't know yet what his title was, but he was one of the few coaches that spoke yesterday, which tells me that he's not in the same position he was last year. So my guess is George Hilo is having a bigger role in this team, which is an absolute perfect decision by the team to make sure they retain him and keep him. How's it going, buddy? Welcome in, Jones, Football Fanatic. How you guys doing today? Welcome into this Monday afternoon. As you guys are getting settled, make sure to hit that like, of course, and get subscribed to the channel. Over the last year, 100,000+ viewers who are not subscribers. We could have a heck of a ton more subscribers on the channel here through the year 2025. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So we are going to be talking about the coaching staff changes and just how big of a deal this actually was, guys. This was a lot bigger than I think I even thought when it first happened in the video. And in the last 24 hours, we have learned that the coaching hire that Coach Prime has made is going to change this program. And it's something that a lot of you wanted. I want to point that out. A lot of the changes that I have seen people ask for in the stream over the last 3 weeks just occurred and was confirmed in the last 24 hours. Let's go over first what we learned from that first team meeting and why it's so important to where the Buffs are moving towards, okay? So first off, the big one, like was just discussed here, is obviously George Hilo is having a bigger role on this team going forward, which is absolutely perfect. If you don't already know, it came out throughout the season that George Hilo was actually pretty instrumental. Him and Livingston had a very good working relationship where they were putting together game plans together, okay? It wasn't just Livingston coming up with things out of it. Like, Livingston is smart enough to know that he is going to seek help where he can. He is going to get every thought imaginable for these decisions. And one of those, and somebody that he listened to a lot, was George Hilo. So keeping Hilo around is a massive, massive, important get for Colorado. And just based on the meeting yesterday, again, to complete speculation on that one, we didn't get an official announcement when they announced George Hilo up to speak, but he was one of the few coaches that spoke in yesterday's team meeting, or at least was shown. That to me tells me he has a greater role than just his analyst position that he was in last year. So something to think about when it comes to him. The second big one that I want to discuss, and again, this one is, they left it up to us, but I know how Bucky is when it comes to what he shows in videos. And the fact that they showed Coach Prime say, running backs, your coach is, and then cut out, tells me that there probably might have been a change in the running back room. Now, whether that was for performance or the other rumors kind of swirling around online is that Coach Flea is going through some medical issues, and so maybe they're getting a part-time running back coach. Maybe they're moving Flea to analyst and bringing in a full-time running backs coach to help him out. We don't know yet, but the fact that Bucky left that in the well-off video tells you a lot. He caters these videos a lot to give you little teases and little bits of information that he is allowed to give you. Okay, so he's only allowed to give you so much. The team only wants to do so much. It would also explain why we are not seeing a very heavy go at any running backs in the portal. Okay, we've talked about it. Colorado's kicked the tires, but not really gone hard after any running backs in the portal. And I think a lot of that has to do with potentially what may be going on with the running backs room. So that is something to think about here as we go through this last 24, 48 hours. The third and the big one that we're going to talk about for most of today's stream is going to be the hiring of Andrew Swasey as the head strength and conditioning coach. All of you guys over the last several weeks, and I even said I didn't think it was that big of a problem, but obviously Coach Prime did, and that is, having a new head of the strength and conditioning program. Now, Coach Mo is still a part of the program. I actually found an article that talked about what his new position is. He's still in a kind of director head role, but it's for something different. It's just a different title, I guess, to give the head strength and conditioning coach over to Andrew Swasey. So I don't think Mo was completely demoted. He's probably not getting a lower paycheck or anything like that. I don't think it's anything that bad, and I think that's why he's sticking around right now. So we still have Coach Mo. We still have Coach Reyes. A couple of the strength guys did leave. We know that throughout the season to go to other programs. But bringing in Andrew Swasey, the more and more I read about this, the more and more I think it's an absolute perfect hire. And it's one of those hires that I don't think we would have thought about. We would have had any idea that this guy was out there. But because of Coach Prime's connections to former NFL players, this guy was probably talked about highly and told, hey, you need to bring this guy in. He's been out of the college game for a couple years. Now, to go through the history of what I've read up on Andrew Swasey. So Andrew Swasey, just real quick, 15 years at the University of Miami, okay? And those weren't just any 15 years. Those were some of the more recent best years of the U that they had over those 15 years. You're looking at the prime 2000s when Miami was one of the powers in college football and one of the nasty teams in college football. Let's just talk about the reputation that the U had and what kind of players were there during that time. And right now you're seeing an outpouring of those players talking about how the hire of Coach Swasey was a home run hire by Coach Prime. And a lot of Miami fans are not happy about it. They're still not happy that he wasn't retained. There are some that thought his old school ways had kind of run their course. But my question for those people are, since Swasey has left Miami, what is the Miami football program? I mean, I'll wait for that answer. It's not like they're the nasty program of the 2000s and the 90s that everybody remembers the U for. They're a completely different team. Obviously, they had a great year on the back of Cam Ward this year, but we know where they were last year. We know where they've been over the last number of years. It's not what Miami football is supposed to be. Okay? Even Miami fans have to admit, you're not the same program that you were all those years that you dominated college football. And you have to wonder if a lot of that comes from who Andrew Swasey is, what kind of mentality brings. He's definitely the old school. We're going to go through some of the social media, some of the videos, some of the things that his own players have been saying since he got hired, since he left the program, but also why they loved him as a coach. It's been going all over social media since it happened. And the more that I listen to it, the more that I do agree that this is probably a home run hire, guys. Absolutely home run hire. Okay? What's up, Coach Dre? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, iron sharpens iron. Coaches and players all about leveraging the system for a better product. He's been gone from Miami for 4 years. Yep. I saw that he's been doing strength and conditioning on the side for a high school. Makes sense. Not wanting to just jump into the college game again. Make sure it's a good fit. And obviously, Coach Prime is a good fit. I know he hasn't been with Miami for years. That's what I'm saying. They haven't been the same team for years since he left. That's what I'm trying to say, is Swasey has not been there for a very long time, and Miami has not been the team that they once were. So that's what I mean. He hasn't been there in a while, guys. So yeah, I know Prime going to add strength and conditioning staff. It's more, yep, we're going to add more. That was already said and talked about. We all watched the videos, so what are you reporting on? Horace Hardy, you don't have to watch. Like, it's fine. This isn't me about breaking news. This is about discussing, having a fan space to discuss what's going on, to give our opinions, to give kind of what our thoughts are. I'm not breaking any news right now. I'm literally just covering the news. So not sure what you're trying to get at there. Literally, that's not what we're trying to do right now. Okay. Why is Coach Bartoloni still there? Tight ends coach is horrible. I don't know what the plan is there. Bartoloni as a coach is very well respected and respected by his players. There's a reason he's still on the staff. There absolutely is a reason he's on the staff. Stop the run, learn to run block, pass rush continues, and we're in there for D. I saw a video from Alvin Kamara saying about how he's stuck with Swasey, can get him to 100 mil. Yeah, we're going to talk about that video as well. It's fine. It was a weird comment because I'm just like, did I say I was breaking news? I'm not sure. Russ, did you take away from yesterday's first meeting yesterday? Like I just said, I summarized it up. Coach Prime is changing. Coach Prime is changing. Each and every year he changes because he wants to be a better coach. My favorite thing with yesterday's meeting, by the way, guys, that I think we need to really, 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 really point and really, really hammer home was his comments about how excited he is to be a coach and not a dad anymore. A coach and not a dad anymore. He wants a team, not a team of players, which we have all talked about it throughout the season, how that was probably our biggest issue, was I think Shedeur having too much control over the offense. I think it was Coach Prime maybe making some decisions that were a little bit more leaning heavy on specific players rather than just doing the best man up. I think that now that Shedeur, Shiloh, Travis are gone, I think Coach Prime can now focus on let's just coach this program up. Let's be a better team across the board. Let's not just be one or two players anymore. Let's be an entire team. And I absolutely love that he made a comment on that for everybody to hear, not only for his players, but then for everyone who's watching the video. That is a huge thing too, that I want to point out, especially with, just what we've been thinking. It's everything that you guys have been talking about. It's almost like Coach Prime watches all of these fan spaces and listens to all of the fan talk on social media. He may not interact with it all. We know that he's active on social media. But then the thing is, it's obvious that there are a lot of changes that we have all wanted this offseason have already happened. So we need to be excited about what is happening right in front of us, because it's everything that we want to see happen. 100%. 100%. No worries with that. Excitement coming to Boulder 3.0. Special teams established a decent run game. Defense will be solid. We have a new special teams coach. That was not talked about yesterday. I uncovered that through a couple of different articles that weren't really mainstream and haven't really been talked about. They've moved Coach Pollock, who was an analyst. He was an analyst on the staff as well. He has been made into the full-time special teams role, just FYI. We did not have a full-time special teams coach last year. It was just a bunch of people who were kind of putting in with that. Coach Pollock has moved into a full-time special teams coach. That was talked about on the pregame show versus Well Off and Reach the People. Again, we've got 3 different sources to divulge information from the team. The goal of this channel and what I do is I collect every bit of information out there. There is a ton. I do a great job of collecting info. I do a great job of getting that all together and providing it for you in one location. So you can watch one thing, get all of your information all at once. That's the point of this. That's what we have going on. I watched Reach the People. He could say he should Coach Prime addressing 28 Ben. He said he wants to be a D or an L this year and wear one of his jerseys. It's up to Ben if that happens. Whether he's starting in defense, I don't see that happening. or if he's continuing being the special teams demon that he is and just being a great overall guy on the team, he absolutely could still get that role. It's in the Florida water. Coach told y'all it's about the relationships, and you know Coach Andrew knows Devin Hester, Ed Reed, Andre Johnson, Edgerrin James. He coached a lot of dudes from your city. He's a legend from everything that I'm reading, guys, and we're going to go over that here in just a second. We'll get through this. I thought when Chip Kelly left UCLA, Prime was going to get strength and conditioning staff from that school. I mean, it's a good choice, though, what we got. Okay, we can't be mad. Just coach and prove the haters wrong. Absolutely. I think that's where we're at. Bartoloni is one of our best recruiters on staff. That's what I'm talking about. Plus, we had 0 tight ends. He made a defensive end a playable tight end. What's he supposed to do? Great coach. Brady, I'd agree with you. That's why he's still on staff, is his recruiting and the connections he has to the players is actually a lot stronger than a lot of people know. Who was playing with their hair? Coach Prime being real. I don't know who that was, but we're also going to talk about who got called out in the meeting, and we finally found out who it was thanks to a couple videos coming through together. Clinton Portis. I love Clinton Portis. He was my favorite Bronco when he was here. I was sad when we traded for him, but you can't be mad if you get Champ Bailey out of that. Still went on to be a great Redskin player, but Clinton Portis, man, he was so cool. Loved him. Anybody can coach wideouts. Coach Prime moved Bartoloni over to tight end coach because the guy can coach. Yeah, we're going to see this year. Guys, give him another year. Give Bartoloni another year. We didn't have tight ends on the roster. That's what you guys need to realize. We didn't have them. And he put Savell Smalls out there and was able to at least have some guy out there. We've got tight ends now. Let's see what he does with a few more guys in the coffers to be able to bring out onto the field for that. I mean, we just found this out. I have no idea, but Coach Prime's going to use his connections. If we wanted to dive into who it could be, I would look at guys from, the connections he has. Who out there maybe hasn't been in a job for a little while, who was a big-time coach, maybe in the Florida area again. He likes to grab from there, it seems. He's grabbed from IMG. He's grabbed now from Miami, Florida State. All of those connections that he has. Who's a big-time running backs coach that is out there and maybe hasn't been coaching for a little while that might be a good guy to bring in and do this? They have to have NFL ties at this point. They have to have NFL ties. It's not going to be one of his buddies that has no NFL ties like the guys that have come up with him. No, it's going to be somebody with NFL ties who's going to be the running backs coach. You watch. Yep. Coach these young men to the next level and run NFL teams. Go Buffs. Ben is not starting, so I don't see that happening. Special teams is his bread and butter. But he could be a leader and dog on special teams is all I'm saying. I could see that. Prime OC at Jackson State, his upcoming coach, World Family. Charlie was wearing an L and didn't play much. That's correct. Yep. Yo, Russ, Rodden Day in Florida. How's it going for everyone on the channel? We're doing good over here. Appreciate you dropping by. Sorry to hear about your day going. It is a very cold and snowy day here in the state of Montana, for those of you guys out there. Why do people think Ben ain't good at defense? It's because we just haven't seen him, Northside. We haven't seen him on defense. I mean, he hasn't really played at all on the defensive side of the ball. He's played mostly on special teams is where we've gotten him to see. It was Omarion Miller playing with his hair. He was doing it before he got called out. So he got called out twice in the meeting. That's not good. That's not good, guys. If he leaves, we now know what's going on kind of behind the scenes. Just saying. I hope he doesn't leave. I hope this is a wake-up call for him because I think he's going to be a dog. I think he's going to be an absolute dog, but he's got to get that mentality there all the time. He's got to be 24/7 a dog. Be in the meetings, be taking notes, be doing everything that you need to do because he has the skills to be one of the best wide receivers in the country. 100% one of the best wide receivers in the country. I want us to be the best in every position. We lack in a few areas. Yeah, we always do. We're going to still add players, guys. I mean, Emmitt Smith would be ridiculous. Who knows if he wants to coach or not? I don't know if he's ever expressed that. I haven't caught you since, but GG's in the Alamo. Oh, appreciate you, silly guy. Yep. You guys did great. You did great. You guys came to play. You showed us. I always say it. We're going to get every team's best, and I think we got one of BYU's best in the Alamo. So appreciate you. Thank you for the comments on the nice new setup. Yep, new camera, new angle. I've remodeled my office with a bunch of new things, so figured we would do that. That would be absolutely insane. If Barry Sanders were our coach, I don't think he ever wants. He's done nothing with football since he retired. It just doesn't seem like he has that going on. It really doesn't. So did Coach Flea leave or step? We don't know. We don't know what's going on. And there was also talk that at some point during an interview this season with Coach Flea, he talked about needing some medical stuff done. So it very well could be a thing where they're going to just fill in for him. I don't know. Could it be another Coach Sal Sinceri moment where we just don't have anybody for a while? We don't know why. We don't know what's going on. And then, bam, all of a sudden somebody shows up. Who knows? We probably won't know for a lot of moments here. We really, really won't. How do you feel about Colorado being in the settlement to be able to pay the players up to $22 million? It's every team has to be there. Every team has to pony up for that. It's Juju that was playing with his hair, not Coach O. Prime was looking at the front row. Very well could have been. We don't know that one, but we do know that O was sleeping away in practice and falling asleep during the meeting. We don't have an O-line coach just yet. They're waiting, guys. They're waiting. Yeah, agreed. I don't like to see that. I didn't like to see Sal Sinceri leave on account of his health. I don't want to see that at all from anybody. Mario Miller is the best player on the team if he leaves him out. Okay, this is what we need to talk about, guys. This is what we need to talk about, guys. You guys got to prepare yourself, okay? You guys have got to prepare yourself right now because the addition of Andrew Swasey is going to cause some players to leave because he is not going to mess around with these kids. He's not going to handhold them. He is going to turn them into NFL players. And if you don't want to truly be turned into an NFL player, then you're probably going to pack your bags and go. Not saying that Omarion Miller is that. Absolutely not. He gets called out in the first day. I hope that turns it all around. It never happens again. Okay? Or I hope that he's also responsive to it and not one of those kids that shuts down from that occurring. As a coach myself, it happens all the time. You try and push kids. What you try and do as a coach is you try to find that breaking point and you try and go up to that breaking point with pushing them in their limits. You want guys who can be pushed. You don't want a guy that closes off automatically. We could talk about who that might be in the past. I mean, not to call this person out. He's doing a great job now recovering at it. But you could say that Cormani McLean was like that when he was getting called out and not playing like he was supposed to. Instead of stepping up to the plate and watching more tape and working harder, he kind of shut down a little bit. And he wasn't ready to be pushed like they were pushing him. We're in college now. The pushing is going to be a lot more. High school, we've got to find that limit a little bit and hold to it. College, you got to go a little bit past that. You really got to strive to push a player further and further into their development. And there are going to be some players that are not going to be okay with it, guys. I'm telling you right now, we are going to see a couple of fan favorites hit the portal because they don't like the coaching style that we will have going forward. Now, not to say that Coach Prime doesn't already have that coaching style, mind you, and we've slowly been weeding out those guys over the last 2 years because Coach Prime is old school in the way that he does things. He's kicked kids off of the team. He's kicked kids out of games for, being on their phones before the games. He's done all of that stuff, okay? All of that stuff he does already. It's just going to be magnified that much more. That's that much more when it comes to the weight room now too, and the off-season strength program. So we're gonna see at least a couple guys. I will just watch. Just be prepared, guys. Be prepared that is probably going to happen. Okay, it really, really is. Let's see where we're going on. Yep, to the new Colorado fans, Coach Prime could go undefeated and still make coaching changes. Coach Prime doesn't want to just win. He wants to dominate. Well, and not to mention hard work. I agree. The other thing is winning comes promotions. So we're going to have a lot of turnover always because of that anyway, if you win. Don't overlook Mr. Ponder, red-shirted last year, diamond in the rough. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what he does. See, I think the ship has sailed. I think the ship has sailed. His reputation is not a good one right now. So I don't know. I thought of that. Darian Hagan is still out there. We could bring him back from Hawaii. See if he wants to come back to coach the running backs. He's a CU legend. But other than that, I don't see any other CU legends. We're competing for the Big 12 National Championships. We don't have time to hold people's hands and be a daycare. Feelings will get hurt. Absolutely. Name some potential. Well, I mean, Omar Miller's one of the biggest fan favorites that everybody's been afraid to lose. Guys, we've been afraid to lose him since last year. It is what it is. Now, do I think he's going to leave? No. And do I want him to leave? No. But he is one of my favorite players on the team. I think he's going to be the best receiver on this team. I know some people in the chat are saying that Joseph Williams is going to be better. Could be. But I do think O has shown flashes of him being one of the best wide receivers, not only there, but in the country. Yeah. That injury just killed him. Is Utah going to leave the Big 12 for foot? I don't think so. They'd be dumb to, because they're not the Utah of old, and with their coach potentially retiring, they do not need to go to the Big 12 or the SEC, or the Big 10 or the SEC, if that's what you're talking about. They're moving there. Omari Miller going to be talked to by the boys that just left, so believe you, he's heard from those guys. Yes. Okay, so you're saying Colorado Prime's coach is the only coaches who can get a player to the pros. I'm an Omar Mill fan. One thing about him, his game is Division I anywhere. Oh, agreed. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we're going to push him in a different way here. Some people thrive with that kind of pushing. Some people don't. It's just a case of it. Prime done and went and got D-Lou for his strength conditioning staff, 5-point harness, and locked, sir. Darian Hagan, San Diego State. Did he follow Sean Lucas? Who's the one that went to Hawaii? Somebody on the staff went to Hawaii too. Oh, that's right. No, he went to San Diego State. You're right. I couldn't remember. I know he went with some of the other coaches and that happened, but who do I think will be the next Travis Hunter? I don't think there's one on the roster yet. Isaiah Harge is the closest we've got right now to that. He is a two-way player and, has some athleticism, but nowhere near Travis Hunter. I think the next Travis Hunter is going to have to come from the high school ranks at some point. I do. I think there's going to be a player out there that wants to play both ways and wants to repeat in Travis Hunter's footsteps. I don't think that's this year. And hopefully we get him here at Colorado because Coach Prime has shown what he can do with a two-way player. And they don't go to one of the other schools. Like right now, by the way, there is a 5-star in the 2026 class. Arrington from California. He could be a two-way star at the next level. Colorado offered. He's going to visit Oregon next week, by the way, guys. I think he might end up being a Duck as well. He's not going to play two ways if he goes there. So I hope he knows what he's doing. See, independent is the worst idea you can do. As we start to lock this down and the playoffs down, Notre Dame's going to have to go to a conference eventually. Yeah, Willie Taggart is at FIU. I think Gunner might be O-line coach, but I'm just saying this because he was sitting at a table shown in the Neely video. Oh, okay. Some sleuthing going on. Gunner going to be the O-line coach. He was in the pregame show, coaches meeting before team meetings. Okay, so a lot of people have seen him. Yeah, I would love to see Cam Michael get a two-way going on defense as well. I really, really would. So he's another one that I thought of if they give him the chance. So far, he has to just play. We'll see what happens, but I would love to see him go both ways because of how good he is. It's true. When we say that, we don't mean a match. We just mean a two-way player that can do decently on both sides of the ball. Yeah, Coach Thurman, there it is. Quen, thank you. Appreciate it. I got them mixed up. Oregon's going to close on that kid. Probably. And I think that would be dumb for him. I really do. Willie Simmons is the FIU coach. I know that somebody just got that job. Somebody got that. I think Alex McPherson is going to be a major standout this year. What do y'all think? Oh, you are 100% right. That dude is an animal. I think we got a steal with him and London Merritt. I think the two freshmen are going to contribute next year. Last year, I wasn't completely sold on Brandon Davis-Swain, our other freshman defensive lineman, starting year one. I thought he had some growing to do physically before he could do that. He didn't play. He's on the roster, so he will be a part of that rotation this year. But McPherson and London Merritt are both ready to go today. They could play on the defensive line against a Big 12 opponent and do just fine. So I agree, McPherson is going to do absolutely wonders. Willie Taggart. That's right. Baltimore Ravens. Quinnell X Farrakhan will go both ways. Heard it here first. Okay, Kobe saying that Quinnell's going to do the both ways. We'll have to see. I would love to see some more cornerback depth come from the two-way player. Okay, real quick, we're gonna share my screen. We're gonna go through all of the stuff. We're gonna talk about Andrew Swasey today. Okay, we're gonna talk about it in case you guys haven't seen it. Again, the purpose of this is I collect all the news for you guys. We talk about it. We look at it. We do it all here. I know a lot of you are not on social media 24/7. I know that a lot of you aren't even on certain social media platforms, so you don't get all of this content and information. So the whole point of doing this is to collect that with you guys, get your thoughts in the comments. Let's have a discussion about it, and let's go from there. So first up, we have got here another podcast that we pulled up. I can't even remember who the player is in this. It doesn't talk about it, but just listen to this real quick. Guys, and you will hear what they have to say. Yep, audio good.
It's Swasey. He's the god, dog. Like anybody that came through that went through the pros from like 99, 2000 on, like to the Al Golden era, it was because of Swasey. You know what I'm saying? That foundation. And anybody that watched this, if you want to know the reason that is not winning, because they don't have Andrew Swasey. If y'all want to win, go get Swasey, and everything will go back to normal. Facts. You keep putting everybody different in the weight room until the weight room and the discipline and the culture is reestablished, which is because of Swasey. You're going to keep getting them 6 and 6s and 7 and 7s.
Okay. So right there, already talking about the fact that Swasey, I mean, he's just the right one. He is just the right one and the right fit there, guys. 100%. Hopefully you guys heard that discussion. We want to go into some more. Here we go. Vince Wilfork. This was back when Swasey was not retained, by the way, guys. This was back when Swasey was not retained by Miami. Vince Wilfork, who we all know as a Hall of Fame nose tackle, most likely. I think, is there already... God, am I already blanking on that? You guys will probably collect me before I get... Yeah, that's right. He is a Hall of Famer. He already is a Hall of Famer. Vince Wilfork, this is what he had to say. It's a reason former Hurricanes spend their offseason working out with Swasey every year. Not his fault they took away what he does best, which is train the way a champion should. That's a very hard pill to swallow to hear he's not being retained. So there we go. Again, Vince Wilfork talking about Swasey and what he does here. Okay. This comment from Brad Coons, another ex-Miami player, O-line coach, Miami Hurricanes as well. Well, my son Drew is pretty much named after him. Andrew Swasey is going to take CU Buffs football to a new level. He is the best mentor there is, changed my life. I owe so much of who I am in my 5 years with this man. This video gives me chills. Let's listen to the 30-second clip from Well Off that talks about that real quick.
You better buckle up. Listen to what I'm telling you. Buckle up. Watch the film. How do you like the bowl game? What teams are playing right now? Is it you?
Thank you.
If you ain't angry, something wrong. I got a problem with you. How about that? How about that? I got a problem. If you cool, what you gonna watch the other game? Now, what you gonna go find somewhere to get some little wings and start watching the game? It should be you. You better buckle up. Listen to what I'm telling you.
Okay, guys, that right there is what I want to hear. Okay? It should be us. They should be angry and pissed off that we are not in the national championship game, that we did not make the Big 12 championship game, that we didn't show up for the bowl game. They should be pissed off. And I love that he called everybody out on this. Everybody out on this. And talked about how we should be pissed off, wanting to get back in that weight room, wanting to work hard, wanting to change the way that things are with this team. Absolutely perfect there. Here is from a podcast from Behind the U. Just listen to what Andrew Swasey meant to this player right here.
So no one better say yes, right?
Yeah, right. So we was like, no, we ain't tired. He say, just because you breathing hard doesn't mean you're tired. And I believe everybody that was there that heard that kind of like, dang, he right. He right. And that was a quote that I carried for the rest of my career. Because every time I felt myself getting winded, I would tell myself that because I trained too hard. And he explained it to us. He's like, I train y'all too hard to be tired. So I always knew how I train. I'm going to always have. So
no one better say yes, right?
Yeah, right. So we was like, no, we ain't tired. He say, just because you breathing hard doesn't mean you're tired. And I believe everybody that was there that heard that kind of like, dang, he right. He right. And that was a quote that I carried for the rest of my career. Because every time I felt myself getting winded, I would tell myself that because.
Okay. So, needless to say, that is what he is. Again, yeah, it was Vince Wilfork. Thanks. Appreciate that. Nick, for commenting on that and talking about who it was. It doesn't list out, but just because you're breathing hard doesn't mean you're tired is an absolute awesome. And I think Coach Dre, you make a great point here. Miami tried to make him change the way he talked and make kids work hard. If you try to change one of those coaches and how they do things, it's going to make them ineffective. That's just who they are. You need to let them be. You need to let them be who they are and just be the person that he's supposed to be. Strength coach, the most important coach on staff. A good one can elevate a program to huge heights. See Coach Doyle at Iowa in the early 2000s. Absolutely. That one is 100% it. Okay, continuing on. Here is the moment that everybody is talking about, of course. Omarion Miller getting called out in the team meeting.
Wake up! Wake up! Stand up, man. Stand up. Not out on the tree. You don't even point. Get your ass. Stand up. Just stand up while I'm talking. Mr. Lake.
Okay, so if you don't remember, in the well-off video, it cut away, and I wondered what had happened because I noticed that Omarion Miller was standing for the rest of the meeting, right in the middle of the room. Obviously, this ties to it. It's him yelling at him to wake up and stand up for the rest of the practice or the meeting because he's falling asleep over there. Not a good look. Hopefully, he takes that well and in stride and does what he needs to do. But this is what you need: accountability. Accountability, guys. Accountability for what they do in every meeting, for what they do every time they get a chance to get better. Whether it's a team meeting, whether it's a positions meeting, whether it's working out, whether it's practice, everything is going to have to be that way. Everything. It is. It's the same message that Ed Reed gave to him last year, but Ed Reed's not here every single day. So now we've got somebody who's going to be in that building every single day pushing him. I would have loved to have gotten Ed Reed on the staff. He just took a job at a high school as a coach. I would have loved for us to take a chance on him, but maybe he wanted to run an entire program, and that's why he's starting at the high school level to try and get into the college level. I don't know. It's unfortunate, but you know that's where it's at. That's where it's at. He 100% made an example out of him. Yeah, you can see it in the way the guys look. You can. We're getting more and more and more and more and more. Yeah. All the time. Yeah, he took a job as an OC at the high school. That's right. The most important is what he said after the call out. He gave an in-game example of why that was needed. Big Teasy, you're right. I love it. That is how you talk to kids. Okay? Call them out. Wake them up. Trust me, he's never going to do that again. And talk about why it's important. Put a why to the reason, okay, of what you're trying to do. 100%, that is what it looks like. That is exactly what it is. I love that comment, J27, pushing them above their limits, and they've got resources. 100%. Push the kid to almost breaking points. He said that's what you do in the fourth quarter, not the first quarter. It's about how you finish. That's what I was talking about. Finding that line with kids, pushing them past their limits a little bit so that they're on edge. That's where we need to get as a team. Swasey trained Ed. Yep, he was part of that. Yep. His teammates should have had his back sitting right behind him. What is his teammates going to do? His teammates are going to like poke at him to wake him up? They were probably locked in up front. That's what you kind of want. Oh, that fourth quarter message, he said that was got me ready to work. Yeah, it 100% is. And then this is the message I talked to you guys about right up front, by the way. This is what I think everybody wanted to hear, guys. This is what everybody wanted to hear from Coach Prime, and he says it day one, and I absolutely love it. Take a second, listen to what Coach Prime had to say when it came to what's going to happen now with his coaching.
But we're going to have some pros, but we had some good players. But I don't want good players. I want a great team. That's the difference. It's a bunch of great players that we just had. I want a great team. I want a great team. This side, I need your name. What?
Okay, guys, that is what I'm talking about right now. A lot of us have made the points and thoughts that the team was more of some good players rather than the total sum of the parts of the team. We had some really, really good players that helped for the deficiencies that we had elsewhere. Now, and I've said it, a lot of people have said it, analysts have said it, DNVR has said it, the pregame show has said it in their podcast. Everybody that is tied to Colorado has said this exact thing. I believe that as a team, Colorado will be a better team overall than they were last year. Are we losing Shedeur and Travis? Yes. But we will be a better team this year than we were last year. Not better players, but a better team. And Coach Prime is already making a point of that, of how this is going to go down going forward. It was about putting around enough players around Shedeur and Travis to compete for 2 years. And then now it's, okay, we need to create the entire team. We need to fix all our deficiencies. We can do whatever that looks like, and then we can now be a better team and overall be a better program because of it. Absolutely. Travis and Shedeur were 95% of the production, 100%. As a veteran, it definitely gave me military discipline vibes. Yeah, 100%. That's what it is. It is that push you until you break. Push you until that breaking point. Because Prime got his ass handed to him by good teams and not good players. Yep, I love this North Side. I'm fine with you saying this. I absolutely do feel that way. The BYU game is the perfect example. The perfect example. Did any one player beat us? No. The sum of the parts beat us. BYU was a good team from front to back. We were good at certain positions, but we were not good as a team and a unit, and they were, and it showed. It 100% showed. I agree. Better team overall because now everyone has to step up, not wait for one of the superstars to save the day. First step to becoming a man, take accountability. Second step, embrace the consequences of your actions. Third step, deal with the truth in every situation. Absolutely love it, Ivy League Mac. That is a very, very good way of looking at how this program needs to go forward and how we need to behave and act. And this is how we're going to get to the level that we need to be at going forward. Doesn't have a choice because this is what other coaches look at and see. You answer the call. In regards to Omarion Miller, doing what he needs to do. Prime got out-coached in those 4 losses, has to do better this year. We all have to do better. It's front to back, all better. All better. We'll for sure be a better team. Shedeur and Travis picked up a lot of the slack, though. It'll be interesting to see if the additions offset that year one. Who's Prime's O-line? I know this question keeps coming up. We have no idea, guys. It's going to come out of nowhere. It really is. I'm done with speculating. Last year, if you go through my videos, you'll see that I had videos on who the defensive coordinator was going to be. I went over every single possible candidate. I went through like 10 different candidates in recorded videos and streams and all that stuff of guys that we had heard or could have been the defensive coordinator. And guess what? Not one of them were the choice, okay? I did not have Robert Livingston anywhere on that. So my guess, especially with an O-line, it's going to be somebody we don't even know. It's going to be somebody out of left field, just like this Swasey hire was out of left field. Did we know that was happening? Did we even realize he was out there? I didn't. I'm betting a lot of you didn't or forgot about him. So that's where it's going to be. Strength coach just came this year, not last year's team. BYU had 5- and 6-year starters. So he was playing against grown men. I mean, you saw that in the Jordan Seaton matchup, guys. Jordan Seaton versus Batty on the offensive defensive line. He took Jordan to school, and that's because there is a 5-year gap between those two players. I got a lot of hate from some people who were saying BYU is not 5 and 6. I didn't mean every player is 5 and 6 year. But if you look at that matchup in particular, their defensive lineman had a 2-year mission, didn't come to college until he was almost 20 years old, was in his final year, was a grown man against Jordan Seaton, and finally Jordan Seaton met his match, didn't have as great of a game, even though he had an unbelievable season. Adrian Wilson, high school recruit, has great breakout speed and great ball skills. Oh, trust me, we talk about Adrian Wilson on here. He's going to be good. All 3 guys that we got from Texas are going to be unbelievable. Agree the proper training with someone who will challenge you and maintain accountability does wonders. What people don't know, we already read that one. Okay, I'm sure it will be someone established and not looking for a one-stop shop. It could be either. Guys, position coaches, that's just the name of the game. That's just the name of the game. That's just the name of the game. Coach Swasey, exactly what we need. Team looked soft at times last year. Yeah, it's going to be great to see. Closing watching to see if Coach Prime will allow the offensive playbook to open up this year. We have not run all of Shermer's offense this year. I hope we run it. I have no idea, but 6 is a dud. And you have to admit that the showing at the bowl game has to say and signal that maybe it's time to move on and get a new Ralphie this offseason. Do something. Because that was pretty darn embarrassing. Batty was damn near 30. BYU had a majority of grown men on that front line. Yep. Quentin Gibson is going to be awesome. Just FYI, if people are wondering where Quentin Gibson is, I assume he is not an early enrollee. Okay? I assume he is not an early enrollee with Colorado, unless we see him this week at some point, maybe because, he didn't have anything this weekend. So I'm assuming that he's not an early enrollee. He's one of the few freshmen that are not. You also saw, because when they introduced themselves, all the new players, we're also missing the tight end, D'Souza, Quentin Gibson are all missing so far. Those guys are probably not early enrollees and probably have to graduate in May. So that's probably what's happening there. So if that question comes up, no, we're not losing them right now. They're probably just not early enrollees for the spring. I think he had another all-star game last week. He had an all-star game last week, but you'd think he'd be here for this week. Like, this week isn't a problem, so not sure. We'll have to see. Coach Swasey and Coach Dwayne Carley, former 49ers strength coordinators, 2 of the best strength coaches in the country. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I heard he on DNVR is still in school. That's what I thought. D'Souza, and if they're not here, it does not mean they didn't sign. It does not mean they're flipping. It does not mean they're not coming. This is the beginning of spring season. A lot of players don't show up until the summer. I know it's becoming more and more common to come to the spring, and it's better for the player and the team to come in spring. Some of them just can't do it. They just can't do it. It's just where they're at. So, that's something you got to pay attention to, something you got to understand, and don't worry, okay? Do not worry about them not showing up. Coach Swasey, mainly a speed coach. I see the trenches exploding off the line. Love to see that too. Yeah, D'Souza is playing basketball, so that makes sense he's still there. Marshall Faulk, another new running backs coach. It could be anyone before he comes on campus. When a player has bought into the standard, they will do the work. Exactly. That's why you've got to have the culture, guys. We saw it last year. The culture got better. Go watch the Coach Prime documentary. The culture got better. Was it exactly where we needed to? No. We're taking steps, guys. We're taking steps. You look at it year to year to year. Improvements each and every time. I'm telling you guys it'll be completely fine. Gibson is a track star, so maybe he's going to do track as well. Would love to see the Buffs go after that Bama O-line. I know I would love to too, but I'm just not even going to assume that he's going to come here. I assume if a freshman decommits this late in the process that it has to be something related to another team jumping into the action late. but I'm not sure. Let's see where he ends up. He ends up at Oregon or Ole Miss. We know what happened, right? I like the Tulane running back coach. That's not a bad one. That's a good out there one. Blessings to Coach Flea. He had health issues, praying for him and his family. Yeah, like I said, I don't want a guy to not be coaching because of health issues. I don't at all. I don't wish that upon anybody. And, you know, that's where we're at with that. Okay, guys, that's about it for today. Again, up to 600 people in here watching. Absolutely love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Hit the subscribe and like button. Make sure on your way out. We'll be back later on this week with some more info as info drops. I'm assuming tonight we might get the first practice. I assume today was the first practice. If yesterday was the first team meeting, or at least by strength, by what I mean by that is strength and conditioning. So we might get to see Swasey in action for the first time on one of the channels. So be on the lookout for that. But we'll chat later on this week as more things develop. We'll keep an eye on that transfer portal for you guys. If you want, make sure to head over to the Twitter account. If you guys want breaking news, I keep track of all that stuff. So if that's what you're looking for, you can find me over at Buffs News Weekly on X. And other than that, we're going to see you guys all later on this week. So as always, I'm your host, Russ Dornish. We'll talk to you guys later. Go Buffs.